Football Report would like to thank Accucare for their sponsorship with the Shore Football Report for the 2022 high school football season. Accucare Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine, located in Brick, New Jersey, offers a state-of-the-art facility with all the best and current treatments, keeping individuals and athletes competing and performing at their best. Boosting a highly trained staff of athletic trainers, massage therapists, exercise physiologists, and doctors of physical therapy, Accucare has everything you need to stay healthy, recover completely, and perform at the highest level. No prescription is needed for treatment at Accucare. So you can literally call today and start feeling your best. Check out the website and social media links in my bio. Call them and get yourself in there. Deep tissue massage, cupping, cryo chamber, infrared pod, laser therapy, pneumatic tech, compression, boots, active release, strengthening, kinesiotaping, and mobility training are just some of what you can expect at Accucare. Stay healthy, keep competing, and once again, thank you to Accucare. Welcome, everyone, to the Accucare High School Football Preview Show, Ocean County Edition, Coach. Ocean County Edition. Today we will talk Manchester Hawks football with head football coach Tommy Farrell. Coach, thank you for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here and talk Hawk football.
Yeah, but there's somebody more important than you and I right now that we got to talk about. It's our proud sponsor. Yep. Pam Anthony, the founder of Accucare, who is all in with the Shore Football Report and the Shore Conference athletes. It's awesome. She's got such a great plan. She wants to be involved in all these athletes, Coach. She really does. And just speaking to her a couple times, she won me over. She really did. Their facilities in Brick are state of the art. She's got everything. Now, you as an athlete, and let's talk as an athlete. Isn't it important to take care of your body before you break down?
Yeah, and you're talking to a guy who blew his knee out in college, my junior year of college. And, if there was places like Accucare more and more, maybe I would have had an extra year of playing college ball. And, we like to stress that a lot to our kids at Manchester as well.
She was telling me about how they do recovery, rehabilitation, preventive. I mean, the technology that they have there is like it's not just tape ankles and get out of here. It's incredible. I mean, I'm going to use her after games because my body breaks down. I mean, I might
be joining you.
Yeah, she'll have all the head coaches there who twist her ankles running to the locker rooms, or me, it's running to the hot dog stand, but that's fine. But Pam Anthony, the founder and the owner of Accucare, is our proud sponsor and from Brick. And I'm real excited to be in partnership with her. I really am. And I owe them a lot. And we're going to do a lot. We're going to do a lot of things with all the programs. She has a lot of ideas, great ideas that I'm going to echo out to everybody, during the season, what we're going to be doing. So we're going to give them a lot of attention with all our programs, Coach.
Absolutely. And just making them a sponsor for you, it gives more for the kids, and that's what you're doing. You're trying to promote Shore Conference football and do what's best for the kids, and for her to do that, put that on her shoulders, that's huge. And as a Shore Conference head coach, I appreciate that.
Now you're the second one in this season's 2022 high school football preview. We went with Steve Fence, who you do know, who you
Yep.
do, and now we have the youngest head football coach in the short conference, who I'm very proud of. I'm
Thank
so
you, Coach.
proud of. The there's only X amount of slots in the whole short conference of being a head coach, and when you're an assistant coach, you kind of sit on the couch and you keep saying, you know what, and you're goal driven. I know you and your father
Yep.
and you wanted to be a head coach for so long, and it fell on your lap. And here you are right now, and there's only X amount of slots, like I said, and you got one of the slots, and I know you're not going to let it go. Not going
No,
to let it go.
I'm just happy to be here. Not only to be a head coach, because as much as the title is great, just to lead a bunch of kids like the kids at Manchester are just awesome. And I know you're just talking about Coach Fence. I just want to shout him out for giving me my first coaching job back in 2018, and to see what he's done at New Egypt at a Group 1 school over the years. He's not only a great coach, he's just a good man. And if I can be half the coach that Coach Fence is, I'll be successful in that regard. So I just want to say thank you to him for giving me my first coaching opportunity, and in 2018, and I wouldn't be standing where I am today if it wasn't for him. So, and it was a great show with him and you. I know you guys coached together as well. We both had the opportunity to coach with Coach Fence, and you can tell how much the players love him and how they surround around him and love him up, and just a good dude. And I'm looking forward to see where New Egypt football is going as well.
Well, you've been raised the right way. I am going to say this before we get into the show. I mean, not only have you been coached with some outstanding guys, and you'll talk about them in a second, but you also have a father who hides behind the suit and tie and the thing. Because I know he's thinking football on Friday nights. He's the superintendent of Brick Township. Your father, Tom Farrell, who I've known for a long, long time, have a lot of respect for him, and I've known you coming up the ranks, and he's got to be grinning, knowing that.
I would be lying if I said he wasn't at my first practice as a head coach on Monday. He showed up, kind of in the back scene, and we like to joke and say that's maybe the GM of Manchester football. He wears his shirt and tie, and he doesn't really talk, and he just he hangs out and watches football. But no, on a serious note, I mean, look, I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for my father. I wouldn't love football if it wasn't for my father. I've grown up at a young age, going to Donovan games when he was coaching, going to Monmouth games, going to New Egypt games, and not that I didn't have a choice. I loved playing football, and I fell in love with it even more. And then when I got hurt in college, I knew I wanted to do it for the rest of my life, to be a coach. And just to have him at my disposal is absolutely huge. And I wouldn't be where I am again if it wasn't for him as well.
He is so detailed. I have his packet, his coaching Bible, whatever he wants to call it. It's like this big and it's detailed. And I told him one time, I said, I have your packet of 75 pages. He goes, which one? I go, which one? How many do you have? He started laughing. He goes, well, I update it every year. I do this, I pull it. But he is
I used the same scouting report he used against Florence in 2005. I'm using it for Lakewood Week 1 this year. So he's very, very organized, and I took that trait from him as well. I'm very organized as well with my staff and with game planning and stuff. So he's been a great resource with all that as well.
Great. We got a lot to talk about, and you are a success story, and a lot to be excited about. You really do. And this part right now, I want to talk about resume. Last year, I don't know if you knew it, we did a coaches talk, and I had coaches talk about their resume, and it just went great. Community loved it. Programs wanted to hear more about the head football coach because sometimes all they hear is get here on time, do this, do that, right? Well, the veteran coaches that are coming back on the show, we're kind of limited a little bit because they already did talk about it. But you're a first year coach at Manchester, so we're going to revisit that right now, and I hope you're okay with So right now, I want you to talk about your resume to us, where you started, and then we'll fill in the blanks. Okay?
Go ahead. I played at Monsignor Donovan under Coach Duddy. We won a B South championship in 2012, my senior year. Then I went on to get a partial scholarship at Stonehill College, Division II. Now they're actually Division I. They just joined the NEC, Stonehill. I played under Coach Talley and Coach Gardner as an outside linebacker. And then after, blew my knee out my junior year, and that's kind of new when I wanted to get into coaching. After Stonehill, I went and got my master's at Syracuse University. I didn't play football there, but I thought I was going to be the next, Stuart Scott on ESPN. I thought I was going to be the next big
That's a
broadcast,
good one.
maybe the next short football report.
Yeah. Hey, watch it.
But after Syracuse, I got my first job at NFL Films when I was a production assistant on the NFL matchup show with Greg Cosell, Sal Palantonio, Matt Bowen. But that was also in 2018. I was back home in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
I needed to coach. I needed to be on the sideline. And Coach Fentz gave me that opportunity right after college to be an assistant on his staff in 2018. And then after NFL Films, I took a job at Fox TV working for Chasing News on Mine 9 New Jersey as an associate producer. And I took more of a volunteer role in 2018 with New Egypt just because of my working hours at the station. Then you go into 2020, COVID hit, and I was itching. I was itching to do it full time. I didn't want to just be there on game nights. I wanted to be in the coach's film room. I wanted to be in the locker room. I wanted to be a part of the off season. So in the background of me, working at Chasing News, I'm getting my teaching certs, and I'm going alternate route. And I got that first job offer from Parsippany High School, an hour and 30 minutes where I live in Manchester, and I took it. And I was a defensive coordinator under Derek Eatman, who's now the head coach at North Plainfield.
Mm-hmm.
I loved every second of it. Even the commute, it was fine. I'd find somebody to call to make the drive go by faster. The commute wasn't an issue. It was a great staff. It was a great administration there. The kids were awesome. And then, I teach TV production and technology. A job opened up at Shore Regional. And, just for my family purposes, being 30 minutes from home was a lot better than being an hour 40 from home. And also, talk about learning under somebody as a head coach, Coach Kaz. I'm surprised, he's had the same staff for, almost a decade and probably more than a decade. It's a championship atmosphere at Shore Regional. I've learned more that year than I did in a lot of years. And there's a lot of people I need to thank for me to be sitting here right now calling myself a head coach. And Coach Kaz is definitely one of them. So when I was interviewing at Manchester and, Manchester, gave me the offer, it was a little heartbreaking to say the least, because I loved the kids at Shore and I loved working for Coach Kaz and having that championship atmosphere. Just it's expected to have a winning season there. But I knew, coaching under him and being at Shore for a year, I could bring that mentality to Manchester.
Without doubt.
So, being at Manchester now, we just started, on Monday with summer workouts and we got 96 kids signed up, and we're fired up and we're ready to go.
Coach, we're going to talk about them in a second. Manchester's going to take a pause for a second, but I want to talk about those two coaches, Steve Fentz and Coach Costantino.
Yeah.
First, Coach Costantino, you're talking about coaching with he's with a Hall of Fame coach. He's a Hall of Fame coach. He's won over 200 wins, been there, done it, the whole 9 yards. And here comes a young rookie coach, in his eyes, probably, right?
Oh,
right? Wet behind the ears. I'm sure he said stuff like that.
Yeah.
I want to hear a funny story with Kaz about, this guy here. Now you're a young guy with all these bright ideas in a program that's been there, done it, and we're going to win, even when you leave to go to Manchester.
Yeah.
What kind of funny dialogue was
there? There was I think it was week 2 when we drove down and field and beat Asbury with 9 seconds left at Shore Regional last year. And in the middle of the game, at some point, Asbury was hitting a lot of quick slants and posts, and I said something to Coach Kaz, very just matter of fact, like, we got to get to the middle of the field. We got to cover that middle third of the field. And he made a comment that I'm not going to say on the show right now, just pretty much like, I know, shut up. I think the whole stadium can see it. And it was just kind of like, all right, got to put me in my place a little bit, but also knowing that like Kaz does see everything. He knows what he's doing, and it's been working for almost 30 years. But on a serious note, just watching film with him and watching how he game plans, watching how he plans a practice, just outstanding stuff that I'll definitely take with me, as a head coach.
How about Steve Fentz now? Now, Steve's a guy that we both know very well, a local guy too. Tell me something about Steve Fentz that maybe other people don't know.
Steve Fentz knows how to, I wouldn't say win the players over, and he does win the players over, but have the players trust him and buy in. And Steve Fentz really doesn't overthink anything because he always says to the kids, football's fun. Like at some point, being a head coach or being an assistant coach, like we do it because it's fun. We don't do it because it's a job. And the more we can relate that to our kids, that football is fun and we're out here to have fun. Nobody does that better than Coach Fentz. I mean, he does pregame karaoke's in the locker room after pasta nights,
Really?
and a couple seniors will get up and sing karaoke. And as a first year head coach, I had to do that because I was a newcomer, so I had to sing karaoke in front of the New Egypt New Egypt varsity team, and he just knows how to have a good time, but he knows the balance of having a good time and getting after it. Because again, another coach that really takes practice seriously and game preparation seriously. But he knows how to have fun, and he knows how to have the kids kind of not overthink it, kind of like just take the weight off their shoulders and know, guys, it's high school football. You don't get a lot of these opportunities. And I learned that and way more things from him and Coach Cons.
That makes me smile because Coach was with me for those 2 years, and he used to always say that I used to say when tension was happening, kids were nervous. There's a billion people overseas that don't even know Barnegat exists, so why are we sweating it, right? And my thing is, a new rule came out: you're allowed to have fun when you work hard, and we would. That's one thing that we always did. So that's great. That's two good coaches that kind of helped you build with your father too, seeing him on the sidelines too, to where you are now. And let's talk about now at Manchester. I want to know that feeling because every head football coach you probably talked to in the state had that feeling. And that's the feeling you have when you get married. That's the feeling you have when you're going to have your first baby. The nerves, the knots, because you care. When you got the call that you were the coach and then you met your team for the first time, let's hear it.
I was overwhelmed with emotions. I was overwhelmed with joy. Just when I got asked, in my interview too, I said I kind of wish the kids were doing the interview because those, I said today at my practice, I said I'm 27 years old and I get to tell people I have 95 sons, which is awesome. But at that the team meeting was probably when I really felt it. Like from the time I was board approved to the team meeting was almost like a month. And it was a long month. It was kind of a lot of administrative stuff, but you want to meet the kids and love up the kids. And I live in Manchester too. So to give back to the community in this way is just awesome. And being 4 minutes from the school is awesome. But seeing the kids and seeing how receptive they were, and then go back to this past Monday when, first day getting after it in the weight room and on the field doing strength, speed and agility, it was all worth it. It was all worth it. All the interviews, all the phone calls, all the suspense waiting until you meet the kids was absolutely worth it. And you talk about the feeling you get. I got married last summer. Now this summer, I'm a head football coach. So it's just been a lot, and I'm super lucky to be here. I know I've worked to get here, but I'm just happy to just be with the kids now because at the end of the day, like I wake up before my alarm. I'm getting there at at 7 o'clock for an 8 o'clock workout, and there's kids already there on their bikes, and it's good to see.
That's good.
So I'm just happy that time is here. That it's football season in Manchester.
Yeah, just have a plan, go with it, and I'll tell you, no matter how many years you've been coaching, when you're walking up the steps to go to the football game for the first week, you start doubting yourself. Did we prepare them right? Are we okay? Do they know how to run our inside zone? And it's just, as a coach, you're always, trying to make sure that you dotted the I's, cross the T's, and all that. But have a plan, go with it, have an answer for it, and make sure those kids know it's okay to make a mistake, but just don't make it twice.
Yes, sir.
Just don't make it twice, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I hate the my bad.
Especially in the red zone. You can make a mistake. Don't make a mistake in the red zone.
My bad. I hate when kids say that. My bad. I'll accept that. But when I start hearing my bad 2, 3, 4 more times, in a quarter, that means I'm getting fired because my bad. But that's it. So you're excited. You're at Manchester, a program in Ocean County that really has not had a lot of success. They haven't in terms of, traditional success with that.
Yeah.
So you're going in there with where do you want to be next year?
Yeah. Look, Coach, you don't have to call a spade a spade. Let's call it as it is. Manchester's only been to the playoffs twice in its history, never won a playoff game, and has one division championship. So I said that to the team when I met with them at the first team meeting. I said it's as simple as this. when we play Lakewood week 1, there's going to be a winner and a loser. That's it. There's no, well, we did good, but we only lost by 6. Or there's winners and losers, and we're trying to not trying. We're going to build winners at Manchester, and that takes a little bit to do. We're starting from the bottom with a new staff, but I know the kids we have in place will be just fine. I see us. I would love to see us have a non-losing season right out the gate. And be competing for a division championship with the division that we're in. And I know you said we're going to go into that in a little bit. But with 96 kids and almost 40 sophomores, the future looks bright to be a Manchester football player. You could talk about wins and losses, and you should judge me as a head coach on wins and losses. But we're also going to, I'm going to be a stickler for academics. Manchester gets out at 1:38. Well, guess what? We're not practicing until 2:30, 2:45 because we're going to have a mandatory study hall every single day. If it's not a study hall, it's a grade check. And we're going to take care of academics. I'm in the process of talking with somebody at a senior retirement home in Manchester. We're going to be out in the community wearing Manchester football shirts. And we're going to be fixing a sign at a retirement home here in Manchester, here in town. We're going to be gentlemen off the field, and we're going to be competitors, violent hitters on the field. And to get to that, look, we've been together 3 days this week. It'll take a little bit, but they are receptive. These young men are receptive, and they're buying in. And I don't see why, if it's not this year, next year, we can't at least make the South Jersey Group 3 playoffs.
Football team adopts the head football coach's personality. And knowing your personality, the stuff that you were saying, it's going to get done. It's going to get done. You're going to be enthusiastic doing what you got to do. There's going to be no shortcuts, and you're going to be highly detailed, and you're going to have fun. And I guarantee you those players are going to love each other.
And I said this, I said this to the administration. I said this to the parents. I said this to the players. As long as they'll have me, I'm your guy for the next 30, 40 years. I want to retire in Manchester. It's already it has the most senior citizen retirement homes in the state. Yeah. So I don't need to go anywhere. I have zero aspirations to coach in college. I've always wanted to be a short conference head coach. I don't want to go anywhere. And, it might take a little bit. I'm hoping it doesn't. But I'm right where I want to be. And these kids are making it even better day in and day out, just showing up. They make it showing up to work, not coming to a job. It's just coming to hang out. I mean, I've been working out with them in the weight room. I've been hang cleaning with some of our coaches, going up against some of our players. I've been running striders with them on the field. So I tell them I'm not going to ask them to do something that I wouldn't do. Now, I don't know how much longer I have to do that with them in the weight room, but we'll see.
Yeah, Coach. I mean, a guy like me, just listening to you doing all that movement made me pull a muscle,
Well, good thing Accucare is the sponsor of the short football.
She's going to be getting a call. Yeah, she will. But, Coach, the one thing I said, you never know what's going to happen the next day.
Yep.
My football coaching was taken and turned upside down with my health one day from the next. And you have to have a vision, but enjoy the moment. Enjoy where your feet are, so you can, and have a goal where you want to keep moving forward. But you never know what's going to happen. A kid can get injured. A coach can have a health issue. You never know. Just love every moment that you're doing. We always would say we have the greatest job in the world, and you do too. Yeah. Coach,
I mean, being in the kid business is the best job in the world, and just seeing how, like I said it a million times, but these kids are just super receptive. I'm excited to see what we can do.
It's a very interesting resume, Coach. We got a lot to talk about today. Are you ready to talk Manchester Hawk football?
Let's do it, Coach.
All right, Coach. This part now, let me get rid of this darn mask. I'm sick of it. We're never going to talk COVID again. That's one of my golden rules right now. But we're going to talk about getting back to normal. As a coach, we have not been able to love our kids in the off season, do our program that we always do for the last 2 years. So as a coach, when we go back and do our normal progression of stuff in the weight room, mandatory meetings with parents and all that, we couldn't do it.
Right.
But let's not think about the coach. The players, the senior class, since their freshman year, they haven't done that, off-season workouts. They haven't had guys in front of them to see, oh, okay, that's how you take the weight room. That's how you do this or that. So this is newness to everybody. Add to the fact that this team right here, all right, has a new football coach because the coach left. They have to get that included with the COVID. So now when we talk to back to normal, We're talking about you as a new head football coach that wants to create a normalness to your program. With all that being done and said, tell me what a normal off season will be for Manchester Hawks with you under the head coach.
Yeah. So right now we're doing in the summer, up until the mandatory off period at the end of July, we're doing Monday, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, 8 to 10 in the morning. We split it up between upperclassmen and lowerclassmen.
Mm-hmm.
First, 1 hour you'll be in the weight room getting after it with Coach Demetrius Smith, our D-line coach, and the other hour you're out on the field either doing speed and agility, offensive installs, or defensive installs. And again, you talk about, bringing in a new staff. That's also bringing in new schemes. So kind of reteaching the game at that point. And, I tell my assistants, there's no such thing as overcoaching when you bring in a new scheme and a new staff. So that's kind of what we're doing this summer. I know the guys were getting after it in the spring. They have a spring strength and conditioning coach in the weight room after school every single day. Got a beautiful weight room at Manchester. A lot of work can get done. But yeah, talking about COVID, thank God that being a new head coach going in, already the difficulties of just being a first-time head coach and coming to a new school. When I was at Parsippany in 2020, that was what we were dealing with: whole new staff, brand new head coach, and you had to do COVID on top of it in 2020. And with the pods, and I don't even want to use that word anymore.
Never.
Or because, like you said, we're back to normal. But it just gives the kids and the coaches more time to focus on football. And that's at the end of the day, that's what we want to do. When you have to worry about testing and potting groups and numbers and contact tracing, it takes away from what we're doing and getting ready to just coach football.
You become a doctor. You're Dr. Farrell with all that stuff.
All right. Well, let's slow that down a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it just just being back to normal, so we can focus on football, and so these kids can have the experience that me and you had playing high school football, because it's a finite sport and you only get so many Friday nights to be with your brothers and strap up, and to be back to normal. I'm just happy for them that they can have a normal football year with Friday night lights, and they don't have to worry about their parents getting tickets and being separated or watching a live stream. And again, just happy for these seniors to have hopefully a memorable senior year. And for these underclassmen to know what it looks like to have a normal offseason and a normal in-season of football.
Yeah, you got, as a head coach, you got to paint the picture right now because they haven't seen it. But I will say this, Coach, with you, it's only going to get easier because every time you go back to that next cycle for the next year, been there, done it. You'll have leaders taking over. Your schemes will be understood a little bit easier, where the underclassmen now can teach it to everybody else. What you do a good job with and getting the word out is with social media.
Yeah.
You really do. You put me on my toes. I see some of your videos, and I said, I'm not going to let this guy beat me. I'm not. I got to beat him. I got to do an Instagram reel or something. I love when you had them take the weight room, and they all were going crazy. And I actually watched it 5 times. I slowed it down. I said, who is that guy? I'm counting how many guys are in there. I'm like, that was pretty cool. I liked it. So you had my attention for a good 5 minutes with that stuff. But that's what you do. You're very good at social media. You're very good at motivational speeches. I've heard you when you were at Parsippany with your speeches, the last game, buckle up, all that stuff. I watched it, and you're very, very good with that stuff. I knew you are definitely light years ahead of your age in terms of maturity and all that. You don't act or have a background like a 27-year-old coach. You're kind of a 30, I'm going to say 30 something, you're mid 30s type of guy, right? But that's a compliment to you, your upbringing and all that stuff. But back to normal is going to be very important. And let's hope we don't ever have another pause like we had the last 2 years, right?
Amen.
All right. Now, Coach, I like this part is when you're going to talk about the 2022 Manchester Hawks coaching staff, your first coaching staff that you hired right here. Now, this is kind of unique because my other coaches, we talk about how, they're older coaches, how the younger coaches keep it, alive and make them feel younger and all that. You probably have a lot more older coaches on your staff where you're the younger coach. I'm very interested in hearing who your staff is And
Yep.
how's the dynamics going on right there? So let's hear about those great coaches.
Yeah, so I'll start off with Jeff Brown. So Jeff Brown is going to be our run game coordinator and our offensive line coach. Jeff comes from Jackson Memorial and Mainland Regional, where he was offensive line coach. He played at Jackson Memorial, won a state championship, and then he went on and played at Springfield College. I'm happy to have him. He's a high energy guy. He's all about smash mouth football, running the rock, and he's doing a great job with our offensive linemen. And I'm just happy to have him, and he hasn't missed a day yet with the team. Then I got Gerard O'Donnell, who's a family friend of mine. He's our pass game coordinator, and he's going to be coaching our quarterbacks. He's coached at Neptune and Jackson Liberty. He's been the head coach at Monsignor Donovan. He's been the head coach at Manchester. He's teaching in the building with me, which is huge to have another assistant coach in the building. And he just brings a plethora of X's and O knowledge and just another friendly face that the kids will be able to see in the buildings. And I've known him since I was born. He's one of my father's best friends, and I call him Uncle G, but I know I'm not going to be calling him Uncle G on the sidelines. I'm going to be calling him Coach like everyone else. So he's going to be our pass game. So him and Jeff are going to be working on the offense together. And then I got Demetrius Smith. Demetrius Smith played football at Jackson Memorial as well. Went on to play at Monmouth University. Was an absolute stud of a one tech. If I was an offensive lineman, I would not want to block him.
No, I wouldn't either.
He coached at RBR for a little bit with Coach Schumann, and now he lives in Manchester. So he might not be in the building, but he's 3 minutes from the school, which is good to have. Then I got Hall of Fame coach Bob Massari. I cannot stress that enough. Coach Massari has been everywhere from Admiral Farragut to Donovan to Allentown to New Egypt to Howell. I'm sure I'm missing a few schools. I know he just did a stint down in Lee County, Florida, I think. And you talk about energy, Coach.
Was he at New Egypt too?
Yeah, he was at New Egypt with my pops and Coach Sankhorn. But you talk about energy. At 74 years old, this dude has probably the most energy today. He was yelling at the linebackers today during pursuit drill. And being a former Marine, I did not want to be in that crossfire. No pun intended. But I'm happy to have him. I'm lucky to have him. Also a Manchester resident. So he's not, and he's going to be subbing for us too as well. So he'll be building as well. Then we have Alex Lunn. Alex Lunn was on the staff last year at Manchester. So some continuity there. He played at Manchester.
Yep.
He's going to be our wide receiver D-backs coach. He'll be helping out with the JV as well. And he played at Ursinus College. It's his second year of coaching, but he's a Manchester kid through and through. And I'm just happy to have some sort of continuity there with him as well. Same thing with Chris Blaine. Chris Blaine played with Alex at Manchester. He played for the New Jersey Warriors. Went on to TCNJ. He's going to be doing tight ends and linebackers, also helping out at the JV level. And then last but not least, my head freshman coach, Alex Zalewski. He teaches at Brick Memorial. He's coached at Toms River East and Brick Memorial, played at Toms River East and played at Montclair State. He's also a high energy guy too, and I couldn't be more thrilled to have him taking care of the ninth graders and coaching up what we all stand for as a Manchester Hawk. So that rounds out our staff, and I couldn't be more fired up. I wouldn't be able to do my job the last month or so if it wasn't for these guys. We had a staff meeting at our house. We had some pizza and wings in my basement. We were watching Lakewood film. We were just getting to know each other, and we meshed really well, which is good. So I'm excited to have them.
I'm going to talk about those two veteran coaches. Yeah. I know you got some youth. You got some guys you probably can blast the same music on, and whatever that music is that you younger coaches listen to. But I know for a fact that Jerry O'Donnell and Bob Mazzari don't listen to that kind of music. Tell me something.
They may not listen to that music, but you know what? Coach Massari in the weight room, you better not be walking, which we don't, but if you're walking in front of Coach Massari, or if you're pouting, you don't want to be in his way because he will let you have it. And Coach O'Donnell, he just knows these kids through and through from being with them every day in school. And he's just that familiar face for them to to be around. And they respect the hell out of him, and they've been respecting all of us. But just to have two former head coaches on my staff is absolutely huge for me. And look, I'm 27 years old. I don't have all the answers, and I know Coach Massari will tell you that he doesn't have all the answers at 74 years old.
Right.
But to be able to lean on them for certain things is just absolutely huge.
It is very, I was joking about the music. Maybe they do listen to that type of music. I don't know. But Jerry O'Donnell and Bob Mazzari are old school veteran coaches. Been there, done it. And that's something that you could always you need to have bounce guys. Those guys, when you need to get reassured, hey, did you like the way I talked to these kids, or
Yeah.
did you like this situation? They can give you their 2 cents because they've been there, done it, in many different places. That's going to be that's invaluable.
And with Coach Masseri, just because he has such high energy, our team motto is keep digging, DIG, discipline.
I heard that. Yeah.
Discipline, intellect, and grit. And we'll have a team shovel and a team hard hat and even a lunch pail. And Coach Masseri is going to give the hard hat out to the hardest hit of the week, or the team shovel to the whatever practice player, whatever we decide to do with that.
Right.
But every day we'll have a shovel out on the field goal post. We'll run out with a shovel, and it just tells the kids to that just to buy into what we're talking about. Being disciplined on and off the football field, in and out of the classroom, in the community, having a high intellect, being a student of the game, being a student of the class. And then having grit, right? Kind of being that prick in between whistles on the field, and just having that edge. And I think that all comes down to, the community of Manchester, the blue collar community of Manchester, just getting after it and digging and putting in the work. So I don't even think I told him yet. So if Coach Masseri's watching this,
he will.
Handing out the shovel and the lunch pail. So.
I remember talking to Jerry when he told me he was going to coach with you. He was excited. He was excited because he's known you since you were that big, know. And he was excited to be back at Manchester and and work with a bunch of good guys and all that. So you got some veteran coaches who are not just there, but they're excited to be there, and that's important. Coach, that's an impressive coaching staff, a fun coaching staff, a staff that's going to grow with this program, and it's going to pay off with your team. All right, Coach. Now we're going to talk 2022 Manchester High School football schedule on the left. On the right, we will talk briefly about the Liberty Division. So I'll just talk a little bit about your schedule.
Yeah, Coach, to be honest, if we could just talk week 1 against Lakewood, I would use the whole show to talk about Lakewood because that's all we're really focused on here at Manchester. But in all seriousness, we're fired up for the opportunity to go down to Lakewood and play them on a Saturday, Labor Day weekend. Coach Clark has done. I have nothing but the utmost respect for Coach Clark and what he's done at Lakewood. He was actually one of my coaches in the All Shore game in 2012 when I played in the All Shore game, and I've kept in touch with him. He was actually a person I called right after I got hired, just to pick his brain and ask some questions. And they got a lot coming back. I know his son was a very good lineman for them that graduated, but from what I understand, their quarterback's coming back. A lot of skill guys are coming back, and and we're excited for this opportunity week 1 just to get out of the gate with a W.
One thing about Coach Clark, he magically always has a lot of people coming back the next year. It's amazing. Like you might think, you know what, he graduated a lot, and then the next year you look at what he's got coming back, you go, how did he do it?
Yeah.
He always has a lot of returners back. He's a magician.
He's one of my favorite coaches in the Shore Conference, and I'm lucky to be able to have his number and to pick his brain when he lets me. I don't know if we're going to be picking each other's brain anytime soon because we got each other now week 1, but no, he's a good dude. Week 2, we're at Toms River East. Another good friend of mine, Coach Sandberg. I reached out to him. We've been friends for a while, but I reached out to him when I got hired just as another young head coach in the Shore Conference. He's been a great resource for me as well. But I lived in the Toms River East section of Toms River growing up and going to Toms River East games. What a place for Friday night football. Raider Nation packs it in, and just to be at their place is tough in and of itself. But I know Coach Sandberg's done a great job over the last few years at Toms River East, and to play in that atmosphere for our kids, it's pretty cool. Then we because we have 2 away scrimmages, and then we have 2 away games. Week 3, we're finally home on September 16th against Matawan, a divisional game. Just like Toms River East, Matawan, is probably one of those teams gunning for Liberty Division Championship. Coach Graver and what he's doing, and I think their quarterback's coming back as well. We're gonna do what we can to get a dub, for our home opener in week 3. And then we stay at home week 4 against Jackson Liberty. Another divisional opponent, Coach Sharples. Respect the hell out of that coach as well, and what he's doing there. And I'm happy to have them at home because of the atmosphere that Jackson Liberty creates at their place. I played at Jackson Liberty in high school, and it was nuts. And I coached at Jackson Liberty last year at Shore, and they really packed that place. So to have them at home is a huge advantage for us for a divisional game. Then an out of division game, we are home for the 3rd week in a row against Manasquan. I think Howard, the running back, one of the best running backs I've seen in person last year when I was at Shore Regional. We played Manasquan on Thanksgiving. I know they lost the receiver, but Manasquan is always a tough opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Price is doing a great job, and again, another team that I'm happy to come to our place, because playing at Squan, especially when I was at Shore and we played them on Thanksgiving last year, is just a crazy atmosphere and a definite home field advantage for them. So I'm happy to have them at the Hawks Nest, that week as well on the 30th. Then we go down to Barnegat, a divisional opponent. Barnegat, Matawan, all these teams. I know we'll talk about the division in a little bit, but all these teams can compete for a division championship. And I know, Coach Covine at Barnegat is doing a great job there, and I'm sure you're proud of him as well. It's always tough to play at Barnegat. I played there my senior year against you, Coach, and we were lucky to get out of Dodge, with the black hole or whatever you have going on at Barnegat in the student section.
Yeah.
And it's a cool atmosphere to play at, but a divisional opponent that we'll definitely take seriously. And then we're home against Freehold Township, another out of division game. Coach Davies and their high flying powered offense. With our nickel defense, we're going to be running a base nickel defense. I'm hoping that'll be a good matchup for us. And then we close it out at Pinelands. Coach Tierney, another good friend of mine, new head coach at Pinelands. I'm interested to see what he's doing there down in Southern Ocean County, because I know they got a lot coming back too. I played against them when I was at Shore last year, so I know Coach Tierney's got a good squad there. So that's kind of how we close out the season. And us and Pinelands could be fighting for a playoff spot that late in the season, as well as the last two games with Freehold Township as well. So we're just excited to be competing in this division, and just to have some of these opponents, whether we're home or away, talk about just great atmospheres for Friday Night Lights. I mean, this is just a great schedule. We're really fired up, looking forward to it. But focusing on Lakewood right now, that's really all my attention has right now.
Spoken like a true head coach, right? Now I'm a journalist guy, a reporter. I'm trying to squeeze out the answers for you, but I would have said the same thing. We're only focused on week one. Let's look to the right side, Coach. In that Liberty division, I look at one. I think of one word when I think of the Liberty. I think of parity. I think top to bottom, there is a lot of common, aspects of their football teams. They really do. They have a lot of people returning. When you look at every one of those teams, your team included, has a lot returning. So, with that being done and said, a team's going to be drastically better. I think everybody is. So you got to raise your game a little bit every week when you're playing in the Liberty. Matawan, Barnegat. I know Coach Covey. It's his second year coaching. He's got it going right there. Graber, he's won a state title at Allentown, and he's trying to get Matawan back to the olden days there, and he's got a lot of guys back. So does Barnegat. Pinelands with John Tierney. I've seen him the past 10 days with his kids at the 7-on-7, and
they got some dudes there.
Yeah,
all these teams. It's just good. It's just good high school football. It's good competitive high school football.
Yeah, Tom Driver East is going to have a lot of numbers. Coach Sandberg has got them going in the right direction there, and Sharples at Jackson Liberty. I seen his kids this week too, and he's got frontline players that can play with anybody in that division. So there's a lot of parity. There is a lot of parity. But one thing I'm going to say this: when you go to your coaches' meeting, when you do your all division and all that, you're going to be in one room. Those are all good guys.
Absolutely.
So you're going to like being in that room with all those guys, because every one of those head football coaches in the Liberty, and I'm not saying anywhere else is different, but I'm just talking about Liberty. The Liberty are a bunch of good guys. You're going to like
it. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. There was a lot of coaches too when I got hired that reached out, just wishing me luck if I needed anything, and I think all of these coaches, were one of those. So this is a good schedule for us. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, notice it was a call. They're not going to be calling you during the week and saying, hey, well, I love how coaches will say, hey, I want you to go undefeated except 1 week. Everybody says those coaching type of things.
Oh, yeah. I talked to Coach Sandberg a lot, Coach Tierney too.
Oh,
and they were like, anything I can do for you. And Sandberg's like, except week 2. Yeah, anything I can do for you except, the last week.
Right.
But it's the same way both sides.
It was so funny because I used to bust coaches' chops. I would always wish everybody good luck. Yeah. Everybody in a text the day of the game. Yeah. And what I would do is I wish the coach that we're playing good luck. He's like, are you kidding me? I'm like, oops, accidental text. But you got a bunch of good guys there, yourself included. You're going to have a lot of fun to Liberty. And again, you're going to be able to play, week in, week out with a competitive game in every one of those games. All right, now the burning question out there is what schemes are Manchester going to run both offensively and defensively? A whole new staff, a new head football coach. Let's hear what you're running offensively, defensively.
Well, I'm going to start with the defensive side of the ball because I'll be calling the defense, and that's just what gets my juices flowing.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be running a nickel-based personnel pretty much out of the 4-2. It looks like a 4-3, but that Rover is going to be kind of our dude. He can be, a D end, and sometimes in a pass rush, he has to be able to play at linebacker depth and be able to force the run in. Sometimes he's man-to-man on a slot receiver. So he's going to be our dude, and we're going to look to see who that guy is. But we're going to be running an even front. We're going to be playing smash mouth football. We're going to be causing chaos. We had our first defensive install today. We had kids flying around in pursuit drill.
Good.
We had kids just excited to cause havoc on the defensive side of the ball, and that's what we're going to be doing. Being a Manchester Hawk football player means to cause chaos on the defensive side of the ball and to punch you in the mouth on the offensive side of the ball, and that's what we're going to be doing. And on offense, we're going to be running like a multiple spread kind of offense. I'm not going to get too involved into it, but Manchester will be running the football more than they have in the past. And we're going to try to establish the run game. We're going to rely on the run game. And then if that can open up to our passing game, that's what we're going to do. But we're going to be smash mouth football. We're going to live in the trenches on the offense and defensive side of the ball. And that's really all I want to give you, Coach, because the advantage of being a new head coach is that, the film last year doesn't really matter too much. So that's kind of all I'm going to give you there.
I love how coaches will say, we're going to be a 4-3 base defense. They come out in a 3-3 stack. Yeah. My buddy Nick Gigley, I don't know if you know Nick. Nick was my college roommate and teammate. So we're playing him, and all his scrimmages, he's running a 4-3 base defense, cover 2, quarter coverage. As soon as the game came on, first game, he comes out in a 3-3 stack, and he's blitzing. I'm like, so us coaches, we always kind of like, we're going to let you know what you need to know, but we're always going to keep something in our hip pocket, and you'll see it later.
Don't get me wrong. You're able to, adjust out of this even to an odd front easily. I'll be able to, it's a 4-2-3-4-esque type of thing. And, we'll be able to cause chaos in a bunch of different fronts, a bunch of different ways. But on offense, we're definitely going to, establish the run game and be known for, punching you in the mouth up front.
All right, Coach. Now, we're going to talk about the top positional groups that you have for offense, defense, and special teams. Now, this isn't coming from you. This is coming from the Shore Football Report. Did my research, watched a lot of film. I'm trying to think. I know a lot about each of the programs, but we're going to see. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not. But I'm going to talk about which groups of positional groups are what I feel is the strength of the Manchester Hawks football team. Absolutely. And you can talk a little bit about them. Yeah. Offensively, I think that the O-line positional group is your strength, and you're shaking your head, so it's making me feel good because I know you got a lot of guys back, some size back. Looking at your team from top to bottom offensively, I think your O-line and with what you're talking about, your philosophy on offense might be backing this up.
Yeah, look, it all starts in the trenches. I actually had a meeting last week with the legendary Coach Al Sainer. Had lunch with him, got to meet with him just to pick his brain a little bit. And he said, you better have a very good O-line, Coach, and you better have a good O-line to run behind. And you want to run with your best ball carrier behind your best lineman in the red zone. And I'm fired up with the line we have. You see them in an auditorium. I'm wearing my shirt and tie at the team meeting. You're not really sizing them up too much. When we got in the weight room Monday, Coach, we got some big boys. We got, Nakai Davis, Tito Sabayo, Gavin Herr. Nakai and Tito are the only seniors.
Wow.
We got 3 big dudes who can contribute for us. And Martin Kozakowski, Jaden Barber, and Jay-Sean Smith. Big dudes. Just very big and very strong, and they can move too. So I'm excited with the line we have. Gavin Herr too, Travis Jackson. We even have a freshman that I'm impressed with right now. Andre Zakar, Zacher, I think is how you say it. He can be a linebacker or running back, but I think he's physical enough to maybe play the line. Also Ryan Dunkley, Mason Davis, Calvin Spicer. I think I just named you like 10 linemen, which is great because if we're we're going to be running the ball as much as I'm saying, and we need to filter out another dude to give a guy a breath. We're going to have the depth to do that, and we have the size to do that. Now, do we have the discipline and intellect to do that? Is another question. But we definitely have the size, the strength, and the speed. So I'm fired up about our offensive line, and I just think with our scheme and what we want to do playing smash mouth football, this is where it starts, and this is where games will be won and lost in the trenches, as you know. So.
Now flipping on the other side, all right, you have a good O line.
Yeah.
I think your strength of your defense is your defensive line.
I couldn't agree with you more. The dudes I just mentioned, at Group 3 football, we're lucky. I mean, I'm lucky to have over 90 kids on the team. I'm lucky to have over 35 sophomores on the team. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those sophomores can definitely be contributors on the line right away. So again, if we're going to be, running an even front defense and getting after the ball, I'm going to need to filter in my D lines a lot as much as I can. And again, we have the depth to do that on that side of the ball as well. I'm just, as a coach, and coach, I mean, it all starts in the trenches. Games are won and lost in the trenches, and they don't really get the newspaper headline, and they don't really get the stats on the Shore Football Report or in the Asbury Park, whatever. But when you watch film and watching film who the dudes are and where games are won and lost, and it's in the trenches. So to be a first-year head coach and to have the O-line and D-line depth that we have makes my job a hell of a lot easier.
It makes the other team's job a lot harder. It does.
Absolutely.
Now, special teams is very, very important. And really looking at your team, again, on all cylinders, I think your returners on kick return, punt return are your strength for special teams.
Yeah, we got a lot of speed at the skill level. After watching last year's film as well, kids like Josh Love, Eli Castellon, we got dudes, Tyrone Benjamin, who can carry the ball. We might be able to just mess with other teams and maybe filter in returners and not have a steady returner. Just because, again, we got a lot of skill dudes who are fast as anything. And I think we can cause some havoc. And I like to call special teams the most important third of the game. And I think we can cause some havoc with the returners that we have on that level.
Oh, you made me feel good that I kind of hit it pretty good with these top position groups.
Pretty good, Coach. You did your homework.
Coach, I rather have a good position group instead of one good player on those positions. And your O-line, D-line are going to be working together, getting real good. And let's hope you do more punt returns than kick returns, right? For argument's sake, let's just do that. Coach. Okay, Coach, we talked about your top positional groups. Now let's talk about some players that you're excited about. I know you're excited about. I've heard you on the phone. I see your tweets. I see your posts that you do. You are so excited to kind of showcase your players, returning players, newcomers. You know what? At this stage right now, everybody's a newcomer, right?
Absolutely.
Because you got a new program. So let's start hearing about some of the exciting players that you can't wait to unveil.
Yeah, so I'm going to start with the line again, just because, and I know I mentioned some names before, but it does start in the trenches, and I'm leaning on these guys a lot to get the job done. We got Calvin Spicer, who's probably going to be our center. He's a senior coming back. Nakai Davis, big dude for us, as well as Tito Sabayo. Those are our 3 seniors, and then we got Gavin Herr, who's a junior, who's going to do a lot for us. And Gavin Herr has been getting after it in the weight room, more than I've seen a lineman. He was sending me tweets like the day after I was board approved of him deadlifting and benching, and I'm just excited to see him get an opportunity his junior year and see what he can do. Going to our skill guys, and those guys are all both offensive and defensive line. Going to our skill guys, Eli Castellon played a lot at running back last year, as well as Josh Love. Expect them to get the ball a lot, as well as Tyrone Benjamin. We got 3 dudes who can run the ball, who can be shifty, who can be a running back, who can be a slot. Who can be, even like Gio Tripodi, who's a linebacker, middle linebacker coming back that played last year. He's a dude that is not afraid to hit and not afraid to get into a benching competition in the weight room. You got Manny Swain. So Manny Swain, I can see him as maybe our H-back. I can see him as a tight end, as a sniffer. And then on the defensive side of the ball, I was talking about that rover position who has to be you might be doing indie with the D ends. You might be doing indie with the D backs because you have to be kind of all over the place and be versatile. Manny Swain could be that guy for us. And then Nick Walters was a wide receiver for Manchester last year who got some catches. And he's a tall, lanky kid. He's pretty fast. He's got some really good hands. and and expect him to have a breakout junior year this year at the wide receiver level as well. So I'm fired up. As you can tell, I'm speechless with just how excited I am. These kids have been so receptive, and they've been working their tails off. And I told them too. Being a new coach with a new new head coach with a new staff, everyone's got a clean slate, and first impressions are everything. And all of them have been giving me great first impressions. They're very respectable. They're not late. And they've just all been doing the right things that we've been asking for them to do. So I'm excited to see what they can finally showcase on the football field, though, because I think we're all just hungry for football season.
Yeah. So those are your players, right?
Yeah, clear.
You're excited. They're excited. Is it safe to say everybody's excited?
It's been football season in Manchester for a while, but I think we just we need to get to week 1. We need to put the helmets on August 10th, and I think we just now summer workouts are going. We got 7-on-7 in a couple weeks, but I think everyone just wants to put on the yellow helmets and get ready to work.
The old saying when people go, "You're in the honeymoon phase." Everybody's laughing at your jokes, right? I'm sure you heard that, right?
Yeah, because people are saying I haven't even been married a year yet, and I think people are saying we're still in the honeymoon.
You're in the honeymoon phase of coaching. Everybody laughs at your jokes. Everybody yes sirs you. You're right, coach. Until that first call.
I was going to say, talk to me at the Pinelands game at the end of the season, and we'll see if we're.
I'm half joking, but we all, we kind of. And what happens? You have to reinvent yourself every year because your speech you did last year, you're going to change the next year, or else you didn't captivate the audience. And that's a technique that everybody's trying to win over. Trying. It's just people skills, and you got people skills. You do.
Thanks, Coach.
You're very good with that. I'm glad you're coaching and you're not competing with the Shore Football Report with the media. I mean, I'm clapping for you.
There's no competition, Coach. You're doing good stuff, and I'm happy to how much it's grown for you. This is good stuff, and like I said before, the coverage you're just giving for the kids, right? Because it's about them and it's about promoting themselves and promoting programs, and you're doing a hell of a job doing it. And coaches like me, thank you for the work you're putting in and for how you're doing it at a high level. So
no, we're excited about Manchester Hawks football because there's a lot of newness now with yourself, and after a while we start taking away new, and you're the head coach, so you're going to get tired of being told your age and all that. And real simple, the head coach on the other side is not going to be thinking I'm going against a young head. No, you're a head football coach that's board approved, that the community believes in, and play ball. You have a lot to look forward to. And I'm excited to be covering you guys in the future. I really am.
Yeah, my kids are fired up too. They're always talking about you at practice. They're all excited when I told them when I was doing the interview, and they love to see what you're doing on Instagram as well. So like I said, I'm just happy for these kids to get this promotion and publicity, and that's kind of why I have the Manchester Instagram as well. Got to promote the program. Got to get people excited for the season. So
it's important.
I may be young, I may be a new head coach, but judge me and my boys and my young men on wins and losses, just like everyone else. That's really
here's an advantage. The younger coaches know technology pretty well. Well, the good ones do.
Yeah.
And that is an advantage you'll have over other people because you're going to be able to teach or put your message out in different ways, in codes, maybe in Twitter or with your Google Classroom, whatever you guys doing with that. And that's the new wave that's going on, technology. And you're very good at that, Coach.
Yeah, and you got to be careful with it too. It could be a blessing and a curse.
It could be also very, very bad too, So, well, I want to thank you for coming on the show and keep doing what you're doing because what you're doing is something very positive. It really is. All right. I'm going to go talk to some of your players in a couple minutes. All right. And I know they're excited too because I saw them at the Shore Best camp and they were so excited. So they get to see me twice in one day.
Right? I'm jealous.
All right. I appreciate it, Coach. Okay. Now we're going to interview the Manchester Hawks football players. We got 3 of them right here. All 3 are seniors. So let me introduce from top to bottom. The top right there, we have Tyrone Benjamin, a senior, a wide receiver safety. Raise that hand. All right. Yep. Right in the middle, we have Manny Swain, a senior, a wide receiver safety. And on the bottom, last but not least, we have Tito Sabayo, an offensive tackle, defensive tackle, also a senior. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on the show.
Of course.
Right?
Thank you for
Now, Tyrone, you got to see me today, right? You got to see me live, right? Did you like my wine shirt?
I love this shirt, Coach.
I like
Very
it.
enthusiastic.
Bonus points for Manchester by saying that, right? You did a great job today. I really was impressed. You had a lot of fun. You got to showcase your skills in front of college coaches. They gave me some notes on all you guys and had some good things to say about you. They liked your character. Your character. That's awesome, man. You only get one first impression, gentlemen, in a anytime you meet people. And Tyrone won him over today. Good.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good. Now, about winning people over, we got some exciting times here over there in Manchester Hawks campus, right? You have a new football coach, Coach Tommy Farrell, a young coach, a 27-year-old guy. And I'm looking at the social media. I just interviewed him just a couple minutes ago, and he's excited. I'm feeling it that you're excited too, guys, right?
Of course.
Awesome. Let's get going. I'm going to go 5 questions. That's all I do with the players. I ask you 5 questions. You did not know what the questions are. I want your reactions to be honest and sincere. You ready?
Yes, Coach.
First question. Who is the funny guy in the program that keeps it real in your program? Yeah, you're laughing up top, Tyrone, so we're going to start with you probably, but you can't mention yourself. In other words, you work hard, but you also have to have fun. And there's got to be somebody in that program that keeps it chill and makes people laugh and keeps everybody ground level. Who's that dude? Tyrone, you first.
So for me, I'm gonna have to go with number 8, Eli Castellon. He's also a senior, plays running back for us as well. He brings his energy to the team, which is like no other. Like every time I step around him, I just get that pump, and I'm like, okay, it's time to go. I'm playing with Eli. I have all my friends around me. It's time to go. And like he's just he always cracks jokes, but we always get our work done, and we get that work done on the field as well.
Nothing wrong with having fun and working hard too. Guys, who do you guys think? Who's somebody out there that makes you all laugh?
I'd have to say number 11, Matthias Payton. Like every time Matt opens his mouth, it's just something funny.
Something funny?
Yeah, he has good energy. That's what I like.
Well, hopefully he has a mouthpiece in his mouth, so he's not too funny during the games, right? Over there playing D-line, right? He's a D-lineman?
Yeah.
Oh, if I see people giggling on defense, I know that D tackle or D end is making everybody smile. How about you, Tito? Who do you think makes people laugh all the time and keeps everybody chill?
Yeah, man, he stole my pick. I was gonna say Matthias too, but
there's nothing wrong with that. You can pick him.
Second place goes to probably Malik Bellamy. It's just like somebody that I'm always like whenever we're around, like during practice, it's just like fun to be around him, always cracking jokes and stuff. And he plays linebacker, just someone funny to be around.
That's good to hear. You got 3 different names right there, and there's nothing wrong, guys, with laughing and bonding as a team. I would have more problems if you didn't have anybody, right?
Yeah.
And us coaches, we always have a coach too that makes everybody giggle too and all that too. But we're not going to get there with the coaches with that. Good. Second question. That was great, guys. Second question. If Coach Farrell has a message to be sent to the program, there's always one player that takes charge and texts and tweets or calls everybody up. Who's that leader on social media that makes everybody know that, hey, we got to be here at practice here, or don't forget this tomorrow? Who is that dude? Who's that leader of social media on the Manchester team?
For me, I'm gonna have to go with Joseph Horowitz.
Good.
He's going to be a junior in the upcoming fall.
Yeah.
Plays quarterback. Every time Coach Farrell sends something out, he's always the first person in our group chat to text and remind us about it because he wants everybody to be there and everybody to bond together. And that's what I love about him the most. He was also at the camp early. I didn't know.
I know, yeah. Joe did a great job, and I like to hear that because my message has to go out too. So I know I'm going to be tagging Joe. Give me somebody else. Let's go with Tito second. Tito.
I'd have to go with Tyrone himself.
Okay.
You know,
There you
he's
go.
always in there. He's always keeping us up to date, always keeping us in line. You know, just making sure that we know what we have to do. You know, and yeah.
Good. Nice. How about you, Manny?
I'd have to say Dylan Cologne.
Okay.
Ever since we found out Coach Farrell was the coach, Dylan's been on everybody.
Good.
And just inform everybody about everything.
Good. Now,
and he's a good leader.
A lot of you guys rely for those extra texts to remind you too, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully you don't remind somebody, hey, you got practice in 3 minutes. Where are you? Right? Good. That's important for leadership. And guys, me with the short football report, it's nice to know those names because now I can attach them to certain files to make sure you guys get it and spread it out. Like our talk show. When we're done with it today, I'm going to send to those guys to spread it out. Nice. Number 3. Normal. We're back to normal now as a football program. For 2 years, we had the COVID, and I hate talking about the COVID, but for 2 years, you guys never had an off season that was normal for players back in the day. Tell me something that was it good to be back to normal in the weight room, able to have a banquet, able to talk and see your coaches regularly. Was it good to be back to normal?
Yeah.
I feel like it was definitely good to be back to normal because with all the masks and everybody having the social distance, you know, people obviously still take the precautions.
Yeah.
But especially with everybody back together, especially in the weight room, we're all bonding, and it's something that is going to help us connect on the field.
Nice. Manny, what do you think? Good to be back?
Yeah, it's good to be back to normal because lifting with the mask on, it was just very annoying and hard to do. And it's nice that like we can be close and like lift with each other now. Because before we had to like spread out.
Mm-hmm.
Only a certain amount of people could be in the weight room at one time.
Yeah. Tito, you agree?
Yeah, I think it really helped the teamwork. You know, like being able to actually like be around each other. It helps the chemistry that we have as a team. And like Tyrone said, it helps us bond. It helps us grow as a team. You know, because we do have a new staff, and getting to know each other and being comfortable around each other, I think it's important.
Yeah, you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable too. And COVID made us feel that way, didn't it?
Right, yeah.
Nice. Good job, guys. Number 4 question. Expectations now in your program. Coach Farrell is coming in to a program right now with certain expectations. What are the expectations, guys? And we're going to start with Manny first. What are the expectations in your program from you guys? I want to hear it from the players' view, not the coaches, the players.
So basically, Coach Farrell's saying is dig, and he just means.
What does dig mean?
Determination, integrity, and grit.
Okay.
And he just means to give it your all in everything you do.
Mm-hmm.
And he also pointed out that in our history, we're 0-2 in the playoffs. And this year, we're hoping to change that. That's one of our expectations.
Nice. Tito, how about you? What are the expectations in that locker room from the players' perspective?
Just to prove ourselves, you know, like you said, well, this isn't our first impression, but, you know, just to send out a message that, you know, we aren't how we used to be, you know, that this is a new team.
Mm-hmm.
And just to like show everybody that this is actually something new, and just to show everybody what we have.
Yeah, good. How about you, Ty?
For our expectations,
yep.
Discipline really is what we really want. Is discipline. You know, we joke around here and there, but when it comes to the time to work, we all have to be disciplined and go out there and have fun. Obviously, you can't play football without having fun.
Nice. Good answers, guys. We're going to end it here with one more question, and here's what I want to know. Tell everybody out there, why is it special to play at Manchester for Coach Farrell? Tell me why. Tell the younger kids in Manchester right now. Tell us why it is special now to play football at Manchester under Coach Farrell. Go ahead, Tyrone.
Why it's special? Coach is a young guy. He just got out of college, and I feel like him being a new coach, or new head coach at least,
Mhm.
he brings a type of vibe that no other coach I have personally felt before. And he's a great guy, especially the staff he recruited. They're all great, and I love to be around them. And I just hope that everybody sees that Manchester is not just a little town and everybody comes over and runs over. Nah, we're not like that this year. It's going to be much different.
Awesome. Manny, tell me something. Why is it special to be at Manchester right now?
I would say the team chemistry. Everybody really has like a nice bond with each other, and we treat pretty much everybody like brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And the energy when you're around all your teammates is just phenomenal. It's just amazing to be around.
Awesome. Tito, you're going to end this conversation right now and give me something good. Why is it special? Why is it special to play for Coach Farrell at Manchester?
Going back to what Manny said, it's just like the chemistry that we have, the bond, it's the culture that we have, we're building something new here. It's not going to be like how Manchester was in the past. It's going to be something new, just new, something reintroducing, something that's new, something better. That's why it's going to be special this year.
Yeah, I know you guys all have been mentioning the word past. And to me, as a head football coach, I'm going to tell you this. You couldn't control the past, the alumni and all that stuff. You can only control where your feet are, right? And you can really turn things around if everybody all believes in the same thing. I always said this, guys, like in football, if everybody did the wrong play, that's a good play because you all did the same thing. You did it wrong. If you all believe and follow the lead and do it the right way, anything can happen in high school football. I've seen programs go 0-10 to all of a sudden they make the state playoffs because a bunch of seniors led the way. All right. You can't control the past, but you have a say in the future right now in the present. You do. And I know Coach Farrell very well. And you know what? I believe in him. And I'm excited for you guys. I'm excited for the coaching staff, and it's good chemistry. And I'm looking forward to covering the Manchester Hawks. The Shore Football Report will be covering you guys all year, and we're going to make it exciting. We're going to combine and make it real exciting. You hear it? Make sure that you guys promote the high school football preview show for the Manchester Hawks edition when it goes out tomorrow. Do you understand that?
Yes, Coach.
Get those views up. You want to make a difference? You want to win the view count at the end of the summer and show people that everybody believes in you. You got to spread it out, send it to 10, 20 people, tell them to send it to 10, 20, and let's get 5, 6, 7, 800 views on this show right here. You hear me?
Yes, Coach.
All right. Guys, again, this is Tyrone Benjamin, Manny Swain, and Tito Sabayo. All right. Are here. Did a real nice job with the interview, guys, and I appreciate you spending time on a Thursday night talking to the number one talk show in the land. Do you understand that?
Yes, Coach.
All right, you guys take care. You need anything, you can contact me with the Shore Football Report. Keep being what you are, and that's great leaders. You hear me?
Yes, Coach.
All right. Be good, guys. Thank you very much.
See you later.